How are you? Okay, good to have you here. Yeah, this morning, as you very much know, that we are getting set for the big deal that is coming up on Saturday. That's the general election, which will take care of the presidential election and then that of the National Assembly on the 25th of January. I mean, February. I've gone back to 25th of January. Who did this to us? Okay, it's 25th of February, please. Okay, so how prepared are you? How ready are you? Have you been able to put everything you need in order to ensure that they participate? Of course, we're no longer talking about PVC. What we want to talk about it now is whatever you are keeping it, go and bring it out and get it, make it handy. Okay, so I remind you that you have a very big job to do on Saturday. Welcome again. Now, we want to look at what could, bring a kind of problem to us or challenge as we get set for 2023 general election. And the topic today says cashless system, helping to track election financing. Is this a question? Is it helping to track election financing? Is that why we are experiencing this cashless system at this period? Because some people have questioned the idea of having this at this all-important period of our life in the nation, in this nation. We're preparing for general election, which we have taken about 4 years to prepare, and now, just a few months to the election, the cashless policy came up. Okay, what is it for? Is it going to help us to in tracking election financing? Maybe that's why it has to come this period. Okay, that's why we're looking at it today. And I have gentlemen that have joined me to look at it as it's where they are Chief Anthony Chibo. He's a public affairs analyst. Chief Anthony, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, viewers.
You're welcome. And I also have Chuka Uzeze. Chuka Uzeze is a lecturer and also a public affairs analyst. Welcome, Chuka.
Ajay, good morning and welcome viewers to the program.
Okay. Yeah, you've heard my introduction. Cashless system, that's the redesigning of Naira, the redesigning policy. Why must it come this period, at this period in time? That is the question in everybody's lips. Let me start with you, Chuka.
Asking the question, why must it come now? It's better late than never. But even when we still look at it, without getting started, you will never get to the desired destination. But there are more pressing issues about it, because if you look at other existing electoral laws, apart from the act that was amended just last year, you find out that it's not just about coming up with improvements on sections or subsections of the Electoral Act, but then how effective are the structures we have in enforcing or implementing these aspects of the Electoral Act. So come to this issue of electoral financing, because that is the target of the cashless, part of the target of the cashless policy, to be able to curtail excesses in overspending and electoral financing and vote buying and other ills that bedevils the electoral period. You find out that getting started, even changing the law without empowering the institutions and the structure to implement might render it void, because the politicians are expert in finding a way in bending the rule without breaking it. So until the law and the institutions are strengthened the more, you find out that it might just be what you will see is that sometime or some way into the next electoral dispensation, political dispensation, they will seek again to improve based on how politicians have found a way around the law again. They will seek for improvement to the act or other aspects. So that's the way I'm seeing for now. But it's good that they have realized that the existing electoral act, especially concerning the electoral financing, is not effective in curtailing misuse of funds, use of illicit funds in financing election, overspending in election, thereby limiting or excluding a lot of people from even participating in the process. So other aspects have been improved, like crowdfunding. Individuals and groups can now come into funding of their popular candidates without even going through the party structure. But then there are expectations from both the party, from both the aspirants in managing the fund. And then when it comes to the cashless policy, the only thing is tracking election funds. So there should be accountability right from the point of campaigning, electioneering process, so that if you can give account, in fact, Yakubu Mohammed made a statement last year that of all the presidential candidates and the parties involved in the last election cycle, only one party, didn't mention the party, was able to make such submissions that render an account of the funds used in campaigning for the period. So it didn't tell us whether it's APC or PDP or any other party.
That's campaigning for the
primaries.
primaries.
Campaigning funds, yeah. Even the party, in fact, every political party is expected to provide 3 financial statements to the INEC. One is party funding, that is source and use of funds. The second is the contributions and expenditure of the aspirants, all right, and then the summary of funds used during election. So, but I find out that of all these group of funds, none of the parties are interested in rendering this thing, and there's timeline for all these, submissions. So, it's good that not just this cashless policy coming in tracking election funding, but government should go up especially INEC, because INEC is not expected just to conduct elections, but also to compel parties, political parties, to render account of how they sourced the fund, how they conducted the election, because this is supposed to be a control mechanism for preventing criminals from putting people in place of trust, that's political or public offices, as well as making even the process financially democratic, so that individuals will not say, I am the one that install this person by maybe contributing more than a certain percentage of the total funds needed by the individual. So I think it's a good thing coming right now. But then enforcement is, a critical aspect of it.
All right. Thank you. Yeah, Chief Anthony Chibo, apart from tracking election financing, there are a whole lot of things to do with finance. A lot of people are engaged in different types of businesses with cash. Okay, so if this cashless system had to come now, how has it rubbed off on other businesses apart from election?
Apart from election, this cashless policy have affected everybody, including my humble self sitting here, to the point where majority of the people out there are unable to do certain things they are supposed to do or they must do on a day-to-day basis. People, the informal sector is mostly hit. People that have to probably sell bole today so that the family will have something to eat in the evening. You can't use POS to buy bole. I don't know, even the bole woman would not be able, don't have that sophistication to have that kind of network installed within a very short notice. But I think the problem we have is purely political. Political in the sense that from 1999 to date, every election has been purchased. Even Yaradua was bold enough to come out plain that the election that brought him to power was flawed. It's that boldness that encouraged majority of opinion molders to begin to canvass for electoral laws that will reduce use of cash in the system. But the more you canvass for these laws, the more these laws are made, the more politicians circumvent the laws. I am in the system. The problem we have is that people, if you look from 1999 to date, people who entered the political system in 1999, very few of them are outside the system. I want to use one example that is threatening the entire political space. Ahmed Lawan was elected into the National Assembly in 1999. He has been there till date.
Ahmed Lawan is the Senate President.
He's the Senate President. He has been there till date. He left the Senate primaries to go and contest for presidential primaries. And when he failed in the presidential primaries, because he has amassed so much political, political war chest, he was able to force the system to conduct a fresh primary for himself. So it's a threat to people like him. They are threatening the democracy that we've all fought hard for.
Even as a lawmaker.
He is not alone. The former governor of Akwa Ibom, Godswill Akpabio, in 1999, the governor, His Excellency Obong Atta, appointed him as Commissioner for Finance. And the moment he got there, from Commissioner for Finance, he became governor. From governor, he became senator. From senator, he has been in and out of the system. He has refused to let the system because of the enormity of funds available to him. So government, I think, especially the Buhari administration, I think Buhari is frustrated that every effort to get this thing right have failed. So he decided to play them this last-minute joker and say, okay, if you want to buy this one, go and look for money and buy it. A lot of them have the money already. But the system now will no longer permit them to deploy that money to use. Though all of us are suffering it, I am pleading with everybody to manage till next Saturday. If we are able to go to the polls without people buying these votes, without people, they tell you that they need money to pay their agents. It's not true. They need money. They will want to pay their own agents. They will want to pay the agents of other political parties so that they will play along in whatever shenanigan they want to do at the polling booth. So it's all a money game. And because it's become a money game, it's either that this democracy crashes or we get it right without money. I think government should be, I give kudos to the Mr. President for rising to this occasion, and I am persuaded that if we are able to endure it through Saturday, maybe something will give.
Okay, when will something ease off after Saturday? So that simply means they've also packed this new currency for the election. Chuka, I'm coming to you. Do you see this? Do you see us reaping the benefits of this cashless system, since we still expect that money will flow after this election? That simply means money has been stacked too for that.
Definitely, nobody will deny the fact that there is enough money stacked for this election. But then, because of the new currency swap policy and then the expectation, the insistence on CBN to encourage financial inclusion and cashless policy, you find out that definitely things will ease off immediately after elections. But one thing I want also the government or the day through CBN to do is to go more on sensitization of those very small and micro business operators who are yet to understand the workings of electronic channels. They should empower or encourage micro finance systems, that's the microfinance banks and other e-banking businesses, to go more aggressively and engage these people, these micro business people, the caraceras, the vulcanizers, to find other platforms, secure platforms, electronic platforms that people can easily utilize to make payments. It is good. It will be cheaper for the country when we have fewer cash available.
Other platforms like what? Do you have anyone in mind?
Yeah, like if you go to China now, you find out that most people, once you have a phone, all you need is your code. Although people will argue maybe they are trying to introduce a cashless policy so that the CCCs or some other thing will come up. Definitely, the paper money you are using is still a sort of, CC. What is the meaning of the paper money? So it's what government calls the legal tender becomes legal tender. So if they can use secured phones, secured portals to make transactions. If everybody, for instance, that all these service providers, they work with, like I always say, something like ATM. People can always use ATM, but now you can use scan codes. You can have your secure scan codes. So once you have your scan code, once the person uses a particular app and scan the code, the payment will be authorized. Yeah, you only have to put in your password and the whole thing will go. Some you don't even need to put your password. So it depends. So if you go over China, just with your phone.
Like the way it's hanging now when you do transfer.
That's what I'm saying. Strengthening the system first means that you have to get the infrastructure in place, not waiting until maybe you authorize the implementation of a policy before you go back to put the structure in place. You have to do it, test run it with selected few, before a trial, run a lot of trials, correct all the loopholes, improve on the loopholes before you know.
All right, thank you. Yeah, cashless system helping to track election financing. That's the topic we're looking at this morning. Chief Chibo, this tracking of election financing, this cashless system, do you see it working? Because just like we have established now that after election there's going to be money, which means money will still play a major role in this election. So what is the essence of this? How do we track this financing? How? Apart from this cashless, is there any other thing that we need to put in place to make sure that this money will not flow during this election?
Well, I don't see any other way that we can, for now, track cash that politicians use to buy votes. What government, in my opinion, is doing now is they are not pursuing the cashless agenda they started in 2010. It was supposed to be part of the 2020 goals of the Central Bank of Nigeria to turn Nigeria into a cashless society. But what is happening now is that the currency is being hoarded, either purposely or for the reasons of getting this election to come to pass without making money available to people who are desperate to use that money to influence their return to the National Assembly, their return to the governorship positions and all the rest. So I think what we are going through is hoarding. That's why I'm saying that after the election, there will be money.
They'll bring out what they have
because
hoarded.
the moment you push that money, assuming you push 1 trillion of the new money into the banks today, there are banks where you have very rich people. Those rich people, they have, say, 2-3 billion in deposits. They have strong influence on those banks to the extent that if they want somebody from their family to be employed by the bank, all they need to do is to threaten the bank. I want you to employ this person. If you don't, I'll pull out my funds and go to another bank. Do you understand me? So these people, these influential people, are equally politicians and people who sponsor politicians. There are people out there who will roll out billions to get you to a political office so that they can manipulate that office when you get there. So I think government is deliberately hoarding money, keeping it out of circulation so that these people, because the moment you money, keeping it out of circulation, so that these people, because the moment you into the banks, they have their network. They will go behind and collect from the bank managers or regional managers or bank executives, and the banks will be helpless, because these are the major stakeholders that the bank. So I think we just have to, like I said, we have to patiently see how it plays out.
One minister. Hello. Okay. Yes. Chuka, when this Naira redesign policy started, some people started crying foul that is targeted at them. Okay. That they know they need this money for this coming election, and then they started this redesigning. Do you see it as a target to anybody, apart from what El-Rufai and his group are now saying, maybe trying to reintroduce their own money, not just whatever? Do you see it as a deliberate attempt to get at a person?
If it is a deliberate attempt, the question is whether I see it as, well, I will even want it to be a more deliberate attempt to target every politician who has stacked money that is meant for the public for personal, and kept it for personal purpose, so that he will now use it to buy votes. Let it be a target for them. It is not a big deal. We have elected President Buhari to help us manage this economy, and he was elected on the platform that he is a prudent person, that he is corruption free. So if there is any strategy, if there is him to at least reduce this, I think he is delivering on it. So if people, okay, we know there are some candidates now. There is a particular presidential candidate that people are willing, even the mantra not give you any CC. People are giving their personal. So people also, deliver on their cost, so that subsequently people will use their personal resources also to support their, ambition or political ambition. So amassing public wealth for personal aggrandizement and trying to use it again to, buy your, because you kept people deliberately in poverty status, so that you can always lure them in, or buy their votes with peanuts. So I think if it is deliberate, let it be. It is okay. Let us put a stop to this slide and then see if we can, make progress back into sanity. Because where we are now, it's a place of madness. And now, why was there need even to, increase the thresholds for the funds? If you look at the reviewing funds needed for campaign for the office of governorship from 1 billion to 5 billion. That's the limit for any candidate to spend. That's the new electoral law. From 1 billion to 5 billion. The office of governorship is the threshold 1 billion we're complaining. Now it's been to 5 billion. It was up, the was 5 billion naira. Fact. To become the president of you need 1 billion. That's the maximum. Now it has been up from 5 billion to 35 billion. Just to be the president of Nigeria. So it means no purpose.
So where do you get the money from?
Are you asking me? So that's pay attention. That's why now they said previously the maximum amount a single individual can contribute to the war chest of any political aspirant is 1 million. Now it has been up from 1 million to 50 million. That I can donate up to 50 million to any aspirant. So it means that these offices is for purchase, it's for sale.
It's for sale.
So when I contribute up to 50 million for an individual to get to maybe to become a governor, if we all convert that money to to the public philanthropic act, we all get as
everybody will be good.
Immediately. That are conniving to wink populace to get hands on our common patrimony, and then it is imperative. In fact, if people bending laws to achieve illicit personal needs. If government at even a point in time will bend the law itself in order to fix things in the interest of the general public, let them bend the law also.
All right. Chief Chibo, we had this problem with the governor of Kaduna State during, immediately after the redesigning of the Naira. He got, he got worked up and started talking to the president that he doesn't even have any right to say that this Naira is not a legal tender. He went as far as telling the people of his state to continue using 501,000 Naira, you know, making it illegal and thereby violating the instruction of the Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Some people started crying foul. This is treasonable. As we are still talking, he went to court with other of his colleagues to challenge that. Okay. Now, just today we saw that. Yesterday they went to see the AGF, that's Malami, maybe to talk about the case in the court. And this morning we saw that they have decided to settle out of court. So, what do you think that played out?
What played out is it was basically an APC problem in an APC government. The policy is an APC-driven policy by the executive. And the executive have the management of money is in the exclusive list of Mr. President have the prerogative to determine with the central bank or with the advice of the central bank how to manage money, you know, to introduce monetary policies that, you know, help the economy. But in this case, the Kaduna state governor, I think he overshot himself. He's a man who have always tried to carry himself as part of the owners of this country. He makes reckless statements and outbursts. And I think having overshot himself, he's been advised to go back and see how they can work out an out-of-court settlement. Because they're not really heading anywhere. The order, I understand that the order that the Supreme Court gave for stay of execution lasts for only 7 days. Mm-hmm. And that order will have to be renewed. And the last time they met to adjourn, they never renewed it. They never renewed that order. What they did was they bought time to accommodate the people that joined in the suit. So the outburst, the Kaduna state governor have already seen that is already on the wrong side of the law. I don't know what, I'm not a lawyer, I don't know how treasonable felonies, how they are put together, but I think it was a wrong thing for governor of Kaduna state
to challenge the decision
of the president. A president he has supported, a president he has worked with, a president he has worshipped as his hero. So for him to have done that, it means that they are frustrated to a point where they have lost their sense of reason. Because they are part of the people who feel that they must determine who becomes president of this country. And as long as people sit somewhere in the comfort of their bedroom, in the comfort of their homes, and plot to determine who becomes president of Nigeria, so long will we continue to have problems. Because when that person becomes the president, these people that determined his clinching that job will be there with him. They will not let him be. Mm-hmm. They will emasculate him. They will frustrate government policies. They will know about these policies before these policies are thrown out, and they will find a way to circumvent or frustrate them. Okay. So I think Mr. El-Rufai is calling himself, and his group, they are calling themselves to order. And the president came out. Government, this is the position of government. The 500,000 you cannot the so what I see is usually what they give. Look at the party, governor of Ogun State, who was sent to midwife that primary. They stole the identity of the whole delegates to that primary and sold it to one candidate.
Too bad.
Declaring the candidate the winner. He took the Supreme Court to tell all of us that primary never held. Now, look at the primaries that took place, the presidential primaries. It was not hidden. Some delegates from Anambra told me that they got $8,000. It was $10,000, but the people that put their names into the list were collecting $2,000 upfront from them. So they came back home with $8,000. Now, this money, where did it come from? Who is going to pay it back when that person becomes president?
That's
eventually?
what we're going to look at when we come back from this break, because if you seize Naira, they could share other currencies.
Yes.
Okay, let's take a break. Let's take a break here. Break is some people that we'll talk to on the streets. We're coming back.
The thing is biting hard on masses now. People are crying, are suffering here and there. There's no money. Even the little one in the ATM machines don't go around. So people are into serious suffering in Nigeria now. We don't even know when the thing will stop. Politicians have already stored money, conniving with bankers. So when you enter bank, they say there's no money. I don't think, because you must have been hearing politicians everywhere sharing money. So where did they get those money that they used to share? So that is the problem.
Based on what the CBN governor said, that it will help to curb criminality, the aspect of kidnapping, ransom paying for kidnapping. Well, it is a good thing. But one thing there is this. For now, it is causing an untold hardship on the masses. For the very fact that when you go to get money in the ATM system, money will not be there, and then so many persons are put into a lot of stress. Also, they should find a way of making it, easier for people to have access to their money in the bank. And secondly, those persons that are living in remote villages, they should try and make it accessible to them, because the POS agents now are using it to make money. The masses are already impoverished as a result of the system. The system have impoverished a lot of citizens. Okay, and so some persons now will be tempted to take peanut, receive peanut from those politicians, and then vote for the wrong person. But if they could curb this vote buying, it goes a long way to allow people the access of voting for their own person.
The cashless system is good, but the only thing is that I think Nigeria is not right for it, because the power outage, most of when you want to go online and the other stuff to do the cash application doing online, there will be no power. So I think Nigeria is not right for it, because we have to have adequate power supply before we talk cashless system. It will not go into election process proper, but the only thing is that if the money backs, it will not augur well for them to rig the election with it. So I think in that way it is nice.
I'm of the opinion that it is something that is going to take a very long process for it to be well activated in Nigeria here, because if you look at the economy, many people like these petty traders in the market, so many of them don't even have bank accounts, and so many of them, some that have bank accounts they don't even have money in that account. Some depend on some eat from hand to mouth. On daily basis they work out what they eat. Some people in the market, it's every day that they come to market, they are able to procure what they will eat for that day. So this kind of economy, cashless economy, will not be it will not benefit them. Let me put it that way, because if you cannot tell someone that doesn't have a bank account to do transfer for you, or for you to transfer money to the person, they should know how to organize the system so that people that don't have accounts can have a way of accessing funds.
About the cashless system in Nigeria, it's very good, but one thing you can understand is this: we have a lot of poor people in the rural areas. Unlike in similar climes, in Western climes, it is the system has been in place for long. But down here in Nigeria, we have a different climate. So the system, I don't think it can work perfectly. But if we start it now and start showing people the way and manner it will go, I do hope in near future we will reap for joy.
Okay, such opinion. Thank you very much. And as we move on, people that will talk to me. But before we get to that, I would like to find out from you, Chuka. Like I said, went for the break. If you seize Naira, based on what happened during the primaries, don't you think they can use other currencies like pound sterling and dollars or euros to induce people on during the election?
Definitely. We are not going to deny that dollar, Naira is being used in elections, not just at primaries, on the election day. So, if it's not available cash, is maybe euro, the availability will not be as easy as it is with Naira. So, enough dollar before now, accumulating a lot for this purpose before now, did not come to their mind. So what we know is that by next cycle of elections, if we made the mistake of getting the wrong politicians in place this particular election, they will not just store their loot in Naira now, but they will store it in dollars. So it means that Naira will lose more of its value because most of the politicians now will not just loot funds and keep in Naira, but they will loot the funds in Naira and convert it to dollars. So Naira is going to see a more, deeper weakening this cycle of, it's going to lose, the inflation rate will be more because most of the politicians will now start to stash their loot in dollar. So definitely, we know that most of them will be scrambling now to accumulate as much dollar as possible because that is the next thing they are going to use now in buying votes, especially from people who have cluster of interest that can help them, steal votes, in clusters. So definitely, so it is only up to INEC and our security agencies to up their game, to monitor, improve their surveillance, to monitor, and even the populace. See, like some candidates will say, if they give you the money, it is your money they looted before. Collect it from them.
And still vote them out.
Vote. If they ask you to take a picture, of course, screenshot. Don't tell them you screenshot it, you didn't see it, or they even stole your that.
But the electoral law say you mustn't go.
Yes, you're not supposed to go to the ballot
polling booth
with your phone. You have your vote inside. You're not supposed to, because the idea is that if you go in there, some people are saying, okay, go show us, take a picture of you voted or how you voted, then we give you money after. So tell them you did it. Let them give you the money first.
Okay.
Take it is your money.
All right. Thank you very much. And we are rounding off, but before we go, Chief Chibo, I want us to look at other areas briefly that we can beat our chest and say that this cashless economy is going to be a gain to us. Like city-wide. You understand what I mean? So, what's your take?
Well, since the the cashless system started, there has been a drastic reduction in stories of kidnap and stuff because there's no money for you to pay, for people to pay ransom. Secondly, the bureau de change, all of them can no longer give you cash. If you go to a bureau de change now with $500 or $1,000, they will ask for an account to transfer the equivalent to you. They will not open their drawer and bring out cash and give you because that cash is not there. So I think it is working. Even the politicians, if they want to share dollars, there's nowhere to change the dollar. There's nowhere that the recipient can go and trade the dollar for cash. So it's a lose-lose situation.
They give you a dollar because the
what I will plead with lose-lose situation.
They give you a dollar because the
what I will plead with Nigerians, let's tighten our belt and see this thing through, because we can't continue to recycle people who vote themselves into power. Their interest is how they get there. Okay. So they don't have the interest of the common man at heart. And another thing I want to draw the attention, if anybody during this election is giving you, party people, if they are sharing the new notes, bear in mind that they are sharing your inconvenience. Is the notes that you are supposed to pick in the ATM that these people are sharing. So whoever is sharing it, don't vote that person in. It's the wrong person to vote in.
It's the wrong person to vote in. Have we, is there anything, apart from the gains we have had, is there any kind of challenge that we are facing? That's generally apart from the politicians. Like some people are hungry. You have money, you cannot access your money. Okay.
Definitely. One thing I must say is that Nigerians are very resilient species.
Yes.
I think Nigerians are the most resilient people on the planet of Earth. Nigerians.
I agree with you.
Because I can't see any other place, even in Africa, that this kind of thing will go on and people will not revolt. Even though we have flashes of people, exerting their rage on maybe some posters or, some banks. And you find out most of these people are hoodlums who are looking for opportunity. People are really going through pains now. People cannot ask the little they have in banks for the basic things, food, medications, etc. Even transporting themselves. A lot of kids now are trekking to their schools.
Because there's no fear.
So the hardship is there, but I know that for one thing, Nigerians are now united in this suffering for the new Nigeria they want.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm sure come this week, Saturday, that Nigerians will vote. Whoever emerges this week, we know that truly Nigerians want a change. Even if he's not your popular candidate, the person knows that truly he's an uncommon candidate and he must work for that interest. If not, the next, even if he might not get to the next election cycle, the person will lose that mandate. I'm sure of that.
All right, thank you very much. Chuka Uzezie, a lecturer and a public affairs analyst. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Aija.
Thank you, sir. And then Chief Anthony Chibo, public affairs analyst too. Thank you very much for joining us,
My
sir.
pleasure.
I must say that I enjoyed the discussion this morning.
It was a robust
Very robust indeed. Thank you very much. Yeah. Okay, and that's where we are drawing the curtain today. For those of you that were not able to join us here, you can go online and watch us in the YouTube, in Facebook, everywhere you find us. We are like empty now. Okay, thank you. Thank you, the camera guys, the director, and a whole lot of people in the house, even the... Thank you very much. Today is Tuesday, so